In the first part of Pride and Prejudice, the Bennet family's life changes with the arrival of Mr. Bingley and his friend Mr. Darcy. Jane Bennet and Bingley grow close, while Elizabeth Bennet develops a dislike for Darcy's proud manners. As social visits and conversations continue, Darcy slowly becomes interested in Elizabeth, and new complications arise with the arrival of Mr. Collins. By the end of these chapters, misunderstandings and emotions are firmly established, preparing the story for future developments.
Chapter 32. Elizabeth returned home, determined to maintain composure, but the household was soon stirred by news of visitors. Mr. Bingley had returned to Netherfield. Jane was visibly agitated, her quiet happiness betrayed by a faint blush and gentle smile. Elizabeth watched her sister closely, hoping that past misunderstandings would not be repeated. Bingley arrived, accompanied by Darcy. His manners were warm and open just as before, and his attentions toward Jane were unmistakable. Elizabeth observed Darcy carefully. He spoke little, but appeared content, particularly when Jane and Bingley were together. Elizabeth now understood that Darcy no longer opposed their attachment. Jane's happiness seemed once again within reach. Elizabeth felt gratitude toward Darcy, recognizing that his growth mirrored her own. Each had learned humility, reflection, and understanding. Chapter 33. The renewed acquaintance between the families soon restored a sense of ease at Netherfield. Mr. Bingley's attentions to Jane were constant and unmistakable, and Jane's gentle happiness became evident to all. Elizabeth watched their interaction with quiet satisfaction. She saw clearly now how deeply they suited one another. Bingley's open warmth balanced by Jane's modest grace. Darcy remained reserved but observant. His manner toward Elizabeth was respectful and steady, free from any trace of former arrogance. Though he spoke little of himself, his actions revealed a desire to atone for past mistakes. Elizabeth, reflecting on her former judgments, felt a mixture of humility and gratitude. She recognized how prejudice had blinded her to Darcy's true character. As the days passed, hope quietly settled over the household. Chapter 34. Mr. Bingley soon proposed to Jane. The moment was everything Jane had hoped for: simple, sincere, and full of affection. Her acceptance was gentle but joyful, and her happiness radiated through the family. Mrs. Bennet was beside herself with triumph. Her delight knew no bounds, and she spoke endlessly of the fortune and comfort now secured for her eldest daughter. Elizabeth rejoiced in her sister's happiness with a deeper, calmer pleasure. She believed the engagement promised lasting affection and mutual respect. Darcy offered his congratulations with genuine warmth. Elizabeth noticed the ease with which he now interacted with her family, and she felt touched by his effort to overcome former reserve. Yet her own feelings remained uncertain, suspended between gratitude, admiration, and unspoken emotion. Chapter 35. The engagement was soon known throughout the neighborhood, and reactions varied according to disposition. Lady Catherine de Bourgh, upon hearing the news, was highly displeased, not by Jane's good fortune, but by what she perceived as an insult to rank and expectation. She resolved at once to intervene. Elizabeth was soon confronted by Lady Catherine herself, who arrived unannounced, full of indignation and self-importance. Lady Catherine accused Elizabeth of encouraging an attachment between herself and Darcy, and demanded that she promise never to accept him. Elizabeth, astonished but resolute, refused to submit. She defended her right to act independently and rejected the notion that social rank alone determined worth. Lady Catherine departed in anger, confident she had prevented a most improper alliance. Elizabeth, however, felt strangely strengthened by the encounter. Chapter 36. Elizabeth was not long in understanding Lady Catherine's purpose in calling upon her. Though the visit had been intended to intimidate, it instead clarified Elizabeth's feelings. She reflected deeply on Darcy's character, his honesty, his quiet strength, and his willingness to change. Her former resentment had fully dissolved, replaced by respect and affection she could no longer deny. Darcy soon returned to Longbourn, and though he did not immediately seek Elizabeth, his presence was felt in every room. Their conversations, when they occurred, were calm and sincere, marked by mutual understanding rather than misunderstanding. Elizabeth sensed that something momentous approached, though neither spoke of it openly. Chapter 37. One morning, as Elizabeth walked alone through the fields, Darcy joined her. His manner was earnest and composed. He spoke of Lady Catherine's visit and expressed hope that her interference had not offended Elizabeth. Elizabeth assured him she felt no resentment, and Darcy, encouraged by her warmth, confessed that his feelings for her remained unchanged. He spoke not with pride, but humility, acknowledging past faults and expressing gratitude for her honesty, which had prompted his self-reflection. Elizabeth listened, deeply moved. In a moment of clarity, she admitted her affection in return. Thus, without drama or spectacle, their understanding was sealed, founded on mutual respect, growth, and love. Chapter 38. Their engagement, though quietly formed, soon became known. Jane received the news with delighted astonishment and sincere joy for her sister. The bond between them deepened, strengthened by shared happiness. Mrs. Bennet's reaction was one of unrestrained celebration. She delighted in Darcy's wealth, connections, and future importance, forgetting entirely her former objections. Mr. Bennet received the news with measured approval. He valued Darcy's intelligence and integrity and reminded Elizabeth of the seriousness of her choice. Elizabeth, confident in her decision, assured him of her happiness. Darcy's conduct toward the family was considerate and generous, marking his complete transformation in their eyes. Chapter 39. The period following Elizabeth's engagement passed in a state of tranquil happiness. Though the news spread quickly, it was received with greater warmth than surprise, for Darcy's character had steadily earned respect. Elizabeth's happiness was of a quieter sort than her mother's exultation. She reflected often on the extraordinary path that had led her to this moment, how misunderstanding had given way to insight and prejudice to affection. Darcy, meanwhile, showed increasing ease at Longbourn. His manners toward Mrs. Bennet were patient, toward Jane affectionate, and toward Mr. Bennet respectfully thoughtful. Elizabeth observed with satisfaction how naturally he now belonged among them, not by rank, but by character. Chapter 40. The engagement prompted renewed social visits, including another appearance by Lady Catherine de Bourgh, this time transformed in manner. She arrived with forced civility, having been informed that her interference had produced the opposite of her intent. Though her pride was wounded, she chose to preserve appearances. Elizabeth received her with calm composure, neither resentful nor submissive. Darcy bore the visit with dignity, offering courtesy without apology. Lady Catherine, finding resistance futile, eventually accepted the match with reluctant grace, consoling herself with the distinction of Darcy's future position. Her departure marked the final triumph of affection over pride. Chapter 41. Preparations for the double wedding soon occupied the household. Jane and Elizabeth, bound by affection as much as sisterhood, took pleasure in planning a future that promised harmony rather than rivalry. Mr. Bennet expressed his satisfaction with quiet humor. He valued Darcy's intelligence and recognized in him a worthy partner for Elizabeth's lively mind. Mrs. Bennet, absorbed in triumph, spoke endlessly of connections, carriages, and estates. Yet beneath the noise and celebration, Elizabeth reflected on the deeper lesson of her journey, that true happiness required humility, self-knowledge, and the courage to revise one's judgments. Chapter 42. As the date of the weddings approached, the neighborhood reflected on the changes that had taken place within the Bennet family. What had once been a household of anxious expectations had become one of fulfilled hopes. Elizabeth and Darcy spent their time in thoughtful conversation, discovering daily how well their minds and dispositions suited one another. Their affection was not loud or dramatic, but steady and grounded in understanding. Jane and Bingley, equally content, exemplified harmony through simplicity and kindness. Their happiness required no explanation. It was visible in every shared glance and gentle word. Elizabeth reflected that happiness, when earned through self-awareness and growth, possessed a deeper sweetness than any imagined perfection. Chapter 43. The marriages were solemnized quietly but joyfully. Jane and Bingley were married first, their union marked by warmth and genuine affection. Jane's gentle nature found perfect complement in Bingley's cheerful openness. Elizabeth and Darcy followed shortly thereafter. Their marriage was one of equals. Two minds refined by experience, bound by respect as much as love. The ceremony was attended by family and close friends without unnecessary display. Elizabeth felt a profound sense of peace, knowing she had chosen wisely. Darcy, no longer constrained by pride, regarded his wife with admiration and gratitude, conscious of the happiness her presence brought into his life.